Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space created weekly is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode of the Becoming Your Strong podcast. I just want to start off with saying thank you. It has been so wonderful and gratifying to have so many of you reach out with just genuine care and concern around just how I've been doing. I happened to make a post on Instagram last week just about being real of what's genuinely going on behind the scenes and basically saying, hey, I'm not okay, but I'm on the road back home to me. And so the amount of support that I've gotten, just the messages and people that truly care and want to make sure that they know that I'm there for them, I really appreciate y'all listening on the other side of this and not only taking the journey with me, but willing to support me through it. So that's honestly what I wanted to dedicate this episode to, is not necessarily everything that's going on behind the scenes, but just some things that I'm doing that are helping me go through just this natural, normal speed bump in life for those of you that are maybe experiencing something similar. So we'll get to that, but let's chat about the Becoming Your Strong moment of the week. So if you listened last week, I talked about the DECA Fit race and how terrible of a race that was and how I've never wanted to quit more in my life. And I get a text from one of my athletes that I coach who is a freaking rock star, might I add. She is something special, y'all. Just when you hear the name Amy Umbel, you better watch out because she is something to look out for. Just in athletics in general, it doesn't matter what it is, but she went out to High Rocks NYC this weekend and she has been in a tough training block. I put her through what we called the Spring Thrasher. It was kind of our giggly name for this last training period. And she took it really well. She absorbed a lot of great adaptations and she went into this weekend feeling really good. And unfortunately, with the heat and just the circumstances, the environment that the race brought, there were challenges that she had to overcome that she couldn't control. And unfortunately, the heat got the best of her, and she still put up an amazing race, took the top spot for the mixed doubles, which was really awesome. Her and Joe Rucka did. And she texted me just saying, hey, I am pulling out of my Sunday solo race. I'm really bummed. I have never felt like I wanted to quit so much in my life during the race with Joe. Like that was the hardest thing I've ever done to date. And she goes, the one thing that pulled me through was hearing your story about the fact that you just went through a very similar experience. And I know that if there is proof out there that someone else can go through something that bad, someone that I know and love and care about and believe in, that I can find somewhere deep within me to do that too. And so I wanted to share that, not to be like, hey, like, look at me, but more or less, you guys, take these stories that I'm telling you about what I'm going through, or just anyone for that matter, anyone that you idolize and admire, and take the proof that it's possible and run with it in the moments where you are in the shitter, you are at your lowest of lows. Sometimes you're not going to have that belief in yourself, but you could have that belief that you've had in other people and the way that they've walked through life in certain circumstances, and use that to fuel yourself, saying it is possible for me too. They have proven that in the darkest of times that there is a way to put one foot in front of the other, and therefore I'm going to choose to do the same thing too. And so I just wanted to shout you out, Amy, for pulling upon that in the time that you needed it most, and for also making the best decision by not racing this weekend. For those of us that just love to race and be competitive and continue to try and progress in life, like that is a hard thing to do, to make that decision. And ultimately, I think you made it for the best, and that's going to make you stronger in the future. And just knowing, like, just when it's time to pull the plug as an athlete. And that's really important as far as keeping you healthy and keeping you going. So big shout out to you, girlfriend. Super proud of you for just an amazing weekend overall and what you were able to accomplish. All right, y'all, let's jump into the episode. So like I mentioned, wanted to thank everyone for the love that was shown on my posts and all the reach outs. If you didn't see the post that I made, feel free. You can go back to Instagram and scroll through it. I just talked about what's been going on in life. And really what was the what's the word I'm looking for? The highlighter, I guess. What helped me hit sort of this moment was the rock bottom that I experienced in the DECA Fit race. After that race, and I mean during the race, after that race, and just during the last week, I just realized like I'm not okay at all. And that's okay as well. It's okay to not be okay for a second. And that I've lost taking care of myself. I've lost putting myself first and filling up my own cup first to be able to let that overflow and fill up other people's first. I've started to step into some really unhealthy habits, and all of these things have led to a very stressed out Kayla who's not herself. And now it's messing with my health, and it's messing with my athletic performance, and it's messing with my ability to just joyfully live life. And I think that's the biggest one of them all that I'm not okay with is life is short. And why do I want to sit here and feel like I'm on overdrive and stressed out to the max? So essentially, y'all, I've lost my way a little, and I'm on the road back home to me. And I want to share for those of you that feel like you're in a very similar spot. Just like I said, it's okay. And I left the message with this on my post of just being honest, like this is inevitable. This is going to happen in life. And the only thing that you can control is how you choose to view the circumstance and what you choose to do with it. And instead of saying, woe is me, I'm choosing to see it as a gift, as a point to stop and take a deep breath and reflect and move in a better direction. And that is a huge gift. That is a huge win. And I'm not obviously like there, like figure it out overnight, but I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to see like the light in the far distance at the end of the tunnel. I've got some work to do, and I'm going to take very simple steps in getting there and giving myself grace in getting there and not trying to rush the process, because I know what happens when you do that. So after spending the last week of doing a lot of reflections and putting some things into practice that have started to help like bring my stress levels down, help me get calm and just take care of myself again, I wanted to come on and just share a few of those things that I've been doing that might seriously help some of you that are experiencing something similar. So the first thing is I started reading a new book. And I'm very excited about this because what I've noticed, and I go in and out of these waves, so I try not to harp on myself too much, but one thing that I noticed is my personal growth time basically went out the window. I was not spending any time journaling or reflecting or reading or listening to podcasts. Like, of course I was like learning stuff about my job and doing those kind of things, but I wasn't taking time to just like really be with myself. That was the first thing that went out the window. And so I decided to pick up a book, and the book is called Loving What Is: 4 Questions That Can Change Your Life. And it's about the revolutionary process called the work. And I wanted to read off something like within the introduction. It like this one statement already completely shifted just how I'm perceiving my world and how I'm attacking my day. And just want to read this out loud for you. We are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. And I just want to take that into perspective of like stress, for example, isn't real. Like, of course we feel it, but stress isn't something that exists until we make it exist. It's not just something floating out there. Like, we have to intentionally make stress happen. And that's exactly what this quote is getting at. We are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. And that really put things into a good perspective for me of like, wow, I am feeling like so like under so much pressure and so much stress because of what I'm thinking is going to happen, not about existing and what actually is. Not about just waiting and taking the right step, making the right decision when the time comes, like constantly being worried about what could come and how that's going to hold me back or how it's going to lead to XYZ. And I'm creating these false stories essentially in my head versus just like allowing myself to live and just be. And so just that alone, I've felt empowered to ask myself questions like, hey, is this true? Is what I'm thinking right now, the story that I'm creating, is that true? Or is that just what I'm thinking is going to happen? Because if it's just what I'm thinking is going to happen, it doesn't deserve space in my head and in my heart yet. It hasn't happened yet. I want to be so where my feet are at and what's going on in this particular moment and deal with that. Enjoy that, celebrate that, take whatever gifts and fruits that come from that. So that might be the one thing that you needed to hear today, to be like, wow, I need to like take captive my thoughts again and to get a better control on the stories that I'm telling myself and realize you're not going to get rid of these thoughts and these stories like completely. You're going to like go in and out of these moments of like, wow, I'm really able to handle these or I'm not able to. And they're just like constantly intruding in my mind. That's human nature, or that's just part of being human. That's part of life. So it's not about eliminating them. It's about being aware of them and being able to catch them and either turn the volume down on them and take a different step or allow for them to consume your life. So I've been working to take a pause and not let those things consume my life that once were just completely consuming me. So that's the first thing, is taking more time for myself, specifically reading this book and taking a pause just to think about my thoughts and what are my thoughts telling me and what do I actually need to take with me versus what can I let go of. The next thing is being where my feet are at. And I know that I've already talked about this a little bit, but when I say being where my feet are at, I mean like physically in that present moment. If I am in the car driving, if I am eating, if I am showering, if I'm going to the bathroom, not taking my phone, not trying to multitask, not trying to do 1.5 million other things because I have stuff that I got to do. There is always going to be stuff on my to-do list. Always. That's never going to go away. But the more that I continue to try and multitask and do all the things, the more that I'm just filling my brain up with clutter. And one thing that I actually learned, some science for you, is that our brains were not meant to multitask. That in fact causes additional stress, additional cortisol levels to rise. And so every time that we do this, it's just like cluttering up the room to the point where we get brain fog and we can't think correctly. And our heart rate is elevated, and it's for no good reason. And so what I've been really practicing, and this has been hard, but it's been really good for me, is just being. So when I'm sitting there eating, instead of having my phone out or trying to do work at the same time, is I just sit there and I focus on chewing my food and taking breaths and just enjoying what is around me. And just, like I said, being still. And that alone, too, has been, while it's been hard, it's been like a breath of fresh air. And I've noticed that my day has kind of like slowed down in a way, but like in the best way. And that I've had more energy to put into the things that I want to. It doesn't constantly feel like I'm dragging through class to class to session from thing to thing. it actually feels like I can be more present with my people and give the energy that I want to give and spend time in conversation, like just be consumed in those beautiful moments, like the things that I love to do with the people that I love to do them with, because I'm choosing to not be on my phone every effing second or to be trying to multitask to get all the things done because I know I have a million things to get done. So while you think that you might be saving time by putting things in your pockets of time, I'm going to encourage you to take that note that maybe you heard from someone of like, work in your pockets of time. Because trust me, I owned a business once. I know what that's like. It's a real thing that a lot of high level people will start to preach. I'm going to decline that, and I'm going to start to approach things differently in that way, because I've already started to feel and see the difference just in my stress and actually being able to put the energy into what I want to put things into. And that, I think, is going to give you so much more back than those few minutes of trying to cram. The next thing that I think actually fits really well into this is giving myself extra time and not rushing from thing to thing. So instead of getting up at a certain time in the morning, around the 4:30 to 4:55 a.m. in the morning, which just sounds ridiculous, but that is my life. Instead of getting up at a certain part in the morning where I know that I'll just have enough time to get ready, to get Chloe settled, all the stuff together for the day and make it there right on time for when I need to, I have been getting up a little bit earlier and leaving a little bit earlier, so that way I can get to work, I can use the restroom, I can fill up my water bottle, I can think about what I want to accomplish, for the day, like set myself up mentally, well for what's to come, giving my clients the best service possible, etc. And just not rushing around, being able to go in the car, at the actual speed limit, which y'all, if you know me, I have a need for speed in the car. Listen to the tunes that I want to listen to, or just be silent in the car and just cruise and watch the sunrise and just be happy. Oh my gosh, that's been great. And I get to work and I don't feel like I'm running around and already on overdrive. I'm able to just exist. It's awesome. And I'm hoping that you're hearing this and I'm saying the same things kind of over and over again. All of these have a trend, and it's kind of the reason why I picked these ones, not only for myself, but to talk about, is because these are just very simple things to not necessarily add to your day, but I think it actually, some of these take away some things off of your plate. That was the biggest thing, you guys, when I was going through this, is just a little side tangent, is I didn't want to continue to add things to my plate. I already have too many things on my plate. The goal was to take things off of my plate so that I can breathe and think clearly and get back to being me, right? So that might be another tip, just squeezing that in there, is if anything, if any of these feel like they're adding things onto your plate, maybe don't do that thing unless you can think of something else to let go off of your current plate to make space for it. The next thing that I did, I have two more things for you, and these get a little bit more personal, so hang with me there. But doing one session, and when I mean a session, I mean a training session, doing one training session a week that has no purpose and is just for my pure enjoyment. After this last weekend doing the DecaFit, I just realized how much I hold myself to certain expectations, and I put myself under unnecessary pressure to the point where I want every session to move the needle. I want every session to mean something. And I've preached that on this podcast, right? If you're going to work with a coach and spend money, make sure that you get a coach that actually gives you intentional training that will move the needle. And I still stand by that. But what I'm recognizing is that, at least for myself, until I'm able to get myself back into a healthier place, and manage those stresses and expectations and pressures better, or just maybe not even have them at all, I need to take that load off. I need to not worry about every session meaning something if I felt like crap there and I wasn't able to hit my erg paces, I'm screwed. I'm going backwards, blah, 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 right? I'm not going forward. That's literally how it's felt. Truly, that is how it's felt. And so I want to have a session a week, and maybe it's not even a training session. Maybe it's just movement, right? Maybe I just start to classify it differently. I go take that fun class that I want to take. Or this weekend, while my boyfriend and the friends were running a marathon, I went out to the trails and I just ran. I didn't look at my watch. I didn't see what my heart rate was. I didn't see how many miles I ran. I just freaking ran around these trails and I had so much fun. It gives me goosebumps to think about it because I just remember having like the biggest smile on my face and feeling like a way that I haven't felt in a while while moving. And it was just so wonderful. It was so effing freeing, you guys. And I'm like, man, I need to just do that more often. Because if I like start to really enjoy the movement that I'm doing again without any pressure or expectation, like the results that I want athletically in my career, they're going to come. And so quite honestly, y'all, some simple things that I've done is like when I do my long base days, whether it's running or whether it's like ergs, I will literally put like a towel over the screen, or I will like put it to tracking something like, for example, calories or tracking watts. Like I will put it on something that is not pace related so that I am not sitting there thinking about the fact of like, wow, this feels really hard. I have to race in a couple of weeks. Like going 20 seconds faster than this is going to be even harder. Like tell me not that you guys have experienced that. And if not, like bless. I hope you don't experience that. But that's what's been going on inside of my head. And I'm like, I just want to train. I want to move. I want to sweat. I want to feel good. I want to enjoy it. And so I'm like doing things like covering up the paces and not worrying about them so that I can just be. The last thing that has been really helping me, well, I shouldn't say really helping me, but something that will in the future help me with my stress levels and what's going on behind the scenes right now is I've been getting really good at identifying the problem. One thing that my boyfriend has told me is that the hardest part is recognizing that you have a problem. The easiest part is taking the action to do it. And I sometimes like, I remember at first disagreeing with that, being like, no, like people are paralyzed by action. But I realized that I wasn't actually finding the right problems in my life, or really recognizing what the root of the problem was. And now that I'm finding certain problems that are going on, I'm like, oh, well, now I can delegate. Now I can ask for help. Now I can like free myself up from not knowing to having all the answers and just being able to take that first step. And just being totally truthful here. And I'm hoping to get some people, some guests on the podcast. I'm on the hunt for some guests that can help not only myself, but help plenty of you that are probably feeling the same thing, whether or not you've recognized you have these problems. But I really do believe that I have an eating disorder of some sort, where I'm constantly obsessing about food. And I also have a problem with body image obsession. And this is something that has kind of been hanging around in the background. I mean, ever since I lost weight, because people idolize the way that I look. I went from no one giving a shit about me to everyone wanting to hear my secrets and thinking I'm so beautiful and wonderful and strong. And like, it was after years of never being enough to getting that attention. You know, toxic stuff unfortunately comes from that. I never meant for it to come from that, but it did. And it's been kind of luring in the background and continuing to build over the last 5 to 6 years. And to be completely frank, where I work at Pursuit doesn't help. It has nothing to do with the people. It has nothing to do with the gym itself. It has everything to do with my perspective of what goes on within those four walls. We are known for being one of the best in Northern Colorado for getting people results. I constantly am talking to people about how to look better, how to feel better, how to do all the things. I am constantly being surrounded by what is picture perfect Instagram, social media worthy people that are sculpted and ripped and working on their next bodybuilding competition and doing all the things where you're realizing, I don't look like that. I once used to look like that. I don't look like that anymore. And then your clothes don't start fitting and all of a sudden the downward spiral happens. And that's what's happened to me over the last couple of weeks. And I am like, what is going on? And I stepped on the InBody this last week, and I went from 18% body fat to 21.1%. And I am like, holy shit. I am that stressed. I am that freaked out right now about what's going on. And so that was also kind of one of those things that had me stop at being like, look, I'm going nowhere good fast, and I need to chill. I need to figure out what's going on. And one of the things that I discovered is that I obsess over food and also get good at it, of like restricting myself over food, and that I am constantly I'm constantly worrying about what I'm looking like and what other perceive me as looking like, because I am a trainer at a very good gym and all these other people look really good. And so therefore I feel like the eyes are on me and people are judging me if I don't look a certain way. That is just me being totally honest about what's actually happening. And I know that there's so many of you that probably are like, what in the world? Like, how, why, you're beautiful. I get that. My boyfriend tells me that every day. I get it. This is something that I have to walk for myself. Not necessarily by myself, but the only person that's going to be able to change the chatter that's going on in my head around it is myself. And so do I know exactly what the right steps are to getting there? Not right now. I don't, which is why I'm seeking help and why I'm being intentional and looking for it. But to the whole point of me sharing this, I've identified the problem and I've been able to admit it to myself, not just like briefly think about it and put it back into the closet. So maybe that's something that you need to do to really start to see true change and how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your life, just how you're genuinely living. It's actually identifying what the root problem is. And when you do that, my goodness, it's going to set you free. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today. And again, I appreciate all of your support and for continuing to walk the journey with me. If you have anything that you need ears and eyes on, just want to share what's going on in your life, you need someone to lean on, happy to help. Happy to, like I say, come on here and speak whatever perspective that you want me to speak on. That's what I'm here to do, is to serve y'all. So keep your head up. I know that I'm doing the same. I'm going out to Underdog this weekend to do a bunch of DECA races, and I'm just excited to just do something that I love with the people that I love. So don't forget to do that for yourself this week too, because you deserve it. Alrighty, you guys. I'll see you guys next week for another episode. See you then.